Coming here to Italy to live here for a short while, I've gotten comments like, wow, you're truly living the dream out there in Italy. And I do feel like I am living a dream. Often I have to pinch myself that I am here in Florence, living here. And comments like those make me think back to how it actually came to be living my dream, how it all started. How can I help someone who would like to live their dream? What is some advice that I would maybe give? I have done a lot of self-work this year. I've started therapy this year, which I've also talked about in a video. And I think therapy and doing that self-work has helped me to realize how I want to be living my life, and then actually taking these steps to making this come true. And I definitely want to say that living your dream life is not an overnight thing, and it's not something that you can in a sense achieve. I feel like it is a lifelong process that you have to keep working on, kind of like doing inner work or self-work. It is something that you have to keep working on. So if you want to start living your dream, then make sure to get a journal or a paper and a pen, because I have some questions for you that I want you to think about and journal about that will essentially help you to figure out what you want and how to start living your dream life. So let's get started. So question number one that I think is really important is, who am I? Now you might be thinking, okay, wait a minute, what does this have to do with my dream life? Just hold on, it will all make sense. But I feel like this question of who am I is something that we rarely think about. When do you truly sit down and think about who you are? Because only when you know who you are, you will know what you want. Now, this question might seem really daunting. You might not really know what to answer. When I first had to answer this question, I was also like, okay, I don't know how to answer this. But think about it for a while, maybe a day or two or a week even, and journal about it and just see what comes up. Spend your week pondering about this question of who am I, and whatever comes up, just dwell on that thought and maybe journal about it. And I feel like slowly, if you give yourself time, pieces will start coming together and you will have more and more a sense of who you are. Some other questions that might help are, what are my values, or what is my truth? Just to get down to the root of who you are at the base of it all. I've talked about this before in another video, but figuring out what my values are was really life-changing to me, because I feel like knowing what your values are, you know what you stand for, and you know what you want, and they act as kind of like a guide towards what direction you want to go towards in life. And when I had moments of doubt, of not knowing what path I want to go down, knowing my values really helped me to go down a path that was truly meant for me and not something that other people wanted me to do, but it was what I truly wanted to do. So you might ask, okay, but how do I find my values? How do I know what my values are? Now, this is also a difficult question. I try to answer this a couple of times. There are a few methods. I don't think there's a right or wrong, but the first thing I tried was to have a list of words that usually represent people's values, maybe things like health or freedom, adventure, things like that, and then limit down the list. So cross off the things that absolutely don't resonate with you, and then slowly work your way down further and further until you're left with like top 3 to 5 words that you feel like are your values. Now, I tried this before and it wasn't 100% for me, just because I limited myself to that list. Instead, what I did was similar to the question of who am I just thought about this question for a week or so, and every time the question would pop into my mind, there would be a word that came up with the question, and I would just linger on the thought a little bit and just kind of feel it out. Does this feel like me? Does this value or word feel like me and what I'm all about? And if not, then I thought about a little more. Maybe it's just not quite that word, maybe something a little different. And that's how I came to kind of 3 words that I felt like were really my values. Now that you know who you are, we're going to move on to the next question of what do I want? This is also something that people don't think about too much. Some people, yes, maybe, but it's important to know what you want in life. Now, the first question of who am I was important to know what I want. So sometimes we feel like we want something, but I feel like sometimes our judgment is clouded by opinions of others, influences of others, expectations of others. So it's not truly what we want, but what we feel like we should do or have to do or would make others proud to do. But coming back to who we are, what our values are, we can more easily figure out if this is truly something that we want. Apart from everyone else's opinions, do I want this? So when you're thinking about this question, what do I want? Keep that in the back of your mind. Is it truly me who wants this, or is it influence from outside that is making me want this? So with what I want, also again, journal about this, think about this. It's kind of like a dream visualization. How do I picture my life to be in the future? So things like, how do I want to live my life? Maybe think about what environment you'd like to live in. It doesn't have to be a specific city or country, but maybe do I see myself living more in nature or more in a big bustling city? Think about the people you're surrounding yourself with. Who am I living with? What are my day-to-day rituals? How does a typical day in my life look like? What are things that I do for fun? Who are the people that I'm seeing regularly in my life? And with this question, don't be scared to dream as detailed as possible. You don't have to have everything figured out, and just because this is what you wrote down as what you want doesn't mean you can't change what you want in the future, but to have a direction and maybe on some things you're really set on. So for me, when I first thought about this question, it was really difficult as well. I didn't 100% know what I wanted or how to answer this question, but I'm going to share with you what I, in a sense, figured out what I wanted, at least for now. So for me, in my 20s, I really want to travel a lot and live in a bunch of different cities, kind of like I'm doing right now. I want to work creatively and also to work for myself, to be my own boss, and with that to be location independent. I want to experience a lot of adventures. I want to volunteer for different causes and learn about different causes. I really want to take care of my health and eat healthily and work on my fitness and generally do all this with Johannes, my boyfriend, by my side. Then I also thought about kind of a little more into the future, further into my 30s, 40s. And there were some things that I could really picture myself doing, and that is living somewhere more in nature, but also not too far away from a small city with art and culture and music. And I can really imagine myself having a vegetable garden that I tend to. I want a dog to take care of. Maybe I see a child, and I definitely want financial independence. And now that you've figured out what you actually want in life, you've kind of mapped out your dreams, you can kind of view these as your goals. So now it's time to be practical. What are you going to do to achieve these goals? What are practical steps you're going to take? Also, you're going to have to set priorities. Since you have so many dreams, so many things you'd like to achieve, sometimes you have to set the priority of first achieving this and then achieving this in an order that just makes sense. But you're also going to have to shift priorities around in your life. So for example, if traveling is a big dream and goal of yours and you need to save up for traveling, then maybe you need to shift your priorities and, for example, not go out every single night to eat, but to save money that way, or maybe to try out minimalism, which I really love, is something that you can save a lot of money on. Maybe with your goals, there are some classes you can sign up to kind of get the ball rolling. But sometimes we already know what we want, but the problem is that we feel like it's too far away, it's not attainable or achievable, it's just something that other people do, but it's not for me because for some reason I just can't get to my goals or my dreams. And I definitely understand taking a big step or making a big change like this takes a lot of courage and it's not easy to do. But I would maybe suggest to journal about this. Why are you limiting your beliefs? Is it maybe out of fear? Is it out of fear of judgment from others? Is it out of fear of not making it? I truly believe in the saying, if there's a will, there's a way. You might have it a little more difficult than other people, but that doesn't mean that you cannot do it. So ask yourself, maybe are you too comfortable in your current situation? Or are you scared of change? Or are you scared of judgment from others? Try to get in touch with yourself and remember who you are and what you want. Also, again, I wanted to remind you that there is no having a dream life and not having a dream life. It's not a switch. I see it more as a dial, and it's more like a journey to pursue your dream life. And I think it's a lifelong journey. So don't get caught up in the mentality of only when I have X, or when I have achieved X, then I have my dream life and then I can be happy. By clicking on this video, you have already taken the first step. You want to know how to achieve your dream life. You're taking active steps to get the ball rolling, in the sense, and you can and should be happy now. Your happiness does not depend on outside circumstances or situations. I personally definitely feel like I'm still at the very beginning of my dream life journey. I've only started, and the journey is really part of the whole adventure. What I think is most important is intentionality with everything. I think it's about being active with what you choose to do every single day. Every single day matters, and something that you do today could really change the trajectory of your life. So I think what's really dangerous is living very passively, just to go with the flow and to just do what is expected and what others are doing. I think a lot of us live a life that we think we should live, but it's only pretty late where some of us kind of wake up and think, wait a minute, but is this how I actually want to live my life? And they get this kind of wake-up call. But I feel like when you've clicked on this video, you have already gotten that wake-up call and feel like maybe I should start thinking about how I want to live my life. So remember to be intentional and to be very active with your choices that you make every day. And I hope this video and these questions and these steps were in some way helpful to achieve your dream life, or to start thinking about how you want to move into that direction. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and share this with someone who should pursue their dream life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.